My wife found this card when we were outside. It means everything is divine. My wife picked this up and see, my birthday is the 1st of January, 1-1. Her birthday is the 9th of March, 3-9. So that is a synchronicity, an alignment with the universe, a confirmation that my wife and I are on the right path. So let's begin with the verse, John 1:1, which is actually my birthday, January 1st. And John is January. He's Janus. Thank you, Santos. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So in the beginning, there is a beginning, middle, and ending, which is the Trinity in itself. In the beginning was the Word, or Trinity, and the Word, or Trinity, was with God, which is another Trinity, and the Word, or Trinity, was God. So this is what Nikola Tesla meant when he said, if you understand 369, you will have the key to the universe. In the beginning was the 3 goes into 6, and the 6 goes into 9. The number 9 itself is God because 9 is a trinity of trinities. So God is a trinity of trinities, which is the number 9, and that's why there are 72 names of God in Hebrew, 99 names of God in Arabic, and 108 names of God in Hinduism. And that's why they put 108 beads on their beaded necklaces. So in the beginning was the Trinity, and the Trinity was with God, and the Trinity was God. The 3 is the micro, the 6 is the meso, and the 9 is the macro. Because 9 is a trinity of trinities, 3 itself is a trinity. It's not a trinity of trinities, but it's a trinity. So what this verse is implying is that everything is either simplified versions of God or smaller in scale, but with the same complexity. The G represents the generating force, the D represents the destroying force. The O represents the observing or operating force, which is just the preserving or sustaining force. This fits perfectly in astrology. The first 3 signs of astrology are cardinal, fixed, and mutable. The cardinal signs, which there are 4 of them, each of the 4 cardinal signs actually begin the season. In Hinduism, we have Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, which are the creator, preserver, and destroyer of the universe. So positive, neutral, negative, positive, neutral, negative. Cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable. So these 3 modalities reoccur 4 times every year. But the 4 elements, fire, earth, air, water, actually reoccur 3 times a year. The first 4 signs are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Each one is one of the 4 elements. So not only is God in the first 3 zodiacs, G.O.D, generate, observe, destroy, or beginning, middle, end, or positive, neutral, negative, but God also has a 4-letter name called the Tetragrammaton, YHWH, which is the 4 elements. The He is twice. So Yod is positive, Vav is negative, and the 2 He's are neutral. Yod He, Vav He is positive, neutral, negative, neutral. So God's name can be 3 letters, G-O-D in English, or 4 letters, Yod He, Vav He, which is still generate, operate, and destroy. Positive, 2 neutrals, 1 negative. All there is positive, neutral, negative. Neutral happens to be twice in the Tetragrammaton because everything cycles, everything breathes, everything sustains. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. But it has to go back to the neutral point. So that's why we have 4 letters. So 3 equals 4 and 4 equals 3. And the 3 just goes back to the 1 because there is no north and south pole. There's just the inverse of counter space. The counterspatial disk is the plane of inertia where you see that it's neutral. It's the neutral zone. And above that, you have north high pressure, south high pressure. So Aries rules from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., but Mars rules from 6 a.m. to 6:40, and from 6:40 to 7:20, Venus rules, and from 7:20 to 8 a.m., Mercury rules. The universe is God's creation, and God is none other than the Trinity, which is energy, frequency, and vibration. And in that order, thank you, Santos. Christians know that the Bible says, as in heaven, so on earth. So whatever happens above happens on earth. Whatever happens in the larger macro scale happens on the smaller micro scale.
There was a reason why the white man had to do what he did.
What was that?
It was a cosmic reason. If it wasn't a cosmic reason,
It wouldn't have happened.
that occurrence would not have occurred.
Okay.
That's all it means. All Christians know that Joseph and Mary are the parents of Jesus Christ. Even though Joseph and Mary never had intercourse, God blessed Mary with a child. And her partner at the time was Joseph. So Jesus has two fathers, Joseph and God, because Jesus is the Son of God, and Jesus is the one and only begotten Son of God, the chosen one. Well, Santos is in Aries, which is Gad, which is God. We all know the 12 zodiac signs. Benjamin is Ben Gemini. Benjamin is Ben Gemini. Zebulun is the haven of the sea. Joseph has his bow about his horse. Dan is the serpent. Judah is the lion. The lion of the tribe is Judah, and he shall hold the scepter. Judah is a lion's whelp, and Naphtali is Virgo. The 12 sons of Jacob are the 12 tribes of Israel, and Gad is Aries. Gad is God, and Santos is in Aries. He was born March 24th, and the year 63, which is 3 plus 6, which equals 9. As I was saying, this is 369. Santos is God. My father's Julio. I'm Julio Castro Jr. My mother's name is Maria. So there you have Mary and Maria, JC and JC. Real father, stepfather. My real father's Julio. Santos is Pops. Santos is everyone's Pops. And I'm literally right underneath Santos. He said I'm the best syncretist he's ever seen and heard in the past 15 years. And I'm proud to be underneath Santos. Maga's dad, John, is also January 1st. So John had disciples. John was the Baptist, and then he baptized Jesus, and now Jesus took John the Baptist's role. So I'm telling you, I will end up taking Santos's role as the world's leading syncretist and president of the Flat Earth, or Flat Earthers. So the missing and final piece is my wife. Jesus had a consort, Mary Magdalene. Everyone called her a W-H-O-R-E, and they didn't want to associate with her because they thought she was dirty. Well, Jesus let Mary Magdalene clean his feet with her hair. My wife's name is Maga de las Flores. So there you have it. Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, Julio Castro, Maga de las Flores. So my wife will totally agree that she is Mary Magdalene, that I'm Jesus Christ. Both of our moms' name is Maria, and my mom's birthday was June 9th, which is 6-9. My father is Joseph, and my stepfather is Santos, who is God, or Gad, or Aries. Look, Gad is God, which is the cerebrum, because the zodiac wheel is a human body where his head is Aries and his feet is Pisces. So if Gad or God is the cerebrum, top of the head, well, this is how it checks out. Cerebrum is the cerebrum, which comes from Sarah and Abram, but that's in Christianity. It actually comes from Hinduism. Thank you, Santos. Sarah and Abram is actually Saraswati and Brahma. And the word breathe comes from Brahma Theos. Everything is the breath of Brahma. Brahma is at the very top because the cerebrum is the top of your head, Sarah and Abram, but it's actually Brahma and Saraswati. Brahma is the absolute. That's where you get brain from, top of your head. Brahma's 5th head was cut off. He's now seen with 4 heads. So the 5th head is the unseen head surrounded by the 4 elements. You can't see the quintessence, the 5th element. Brahma is the invisible seed where all things come from. Everything must move. They say that the earth is wobbling while it's rotating, but it's actually the dome that is doing so. Jesus, the Son of God, with his 12 disciples, which are the 12 zodiacs, Jesus goes around with his 12 disciples around the circuit of Galilee. Well, that means the circuit of the circuit, because your atoms are not just cycling, but they're circling the North Pole, coming out of the north into the south, but the energy is circling from east to west. So who gave us the theory that the earth was revolving as it was rotating? That's Galileo Galilei, which means to move and to turn, because the dome is what's turning as it is moving. That's the pole star shift. A new pole star gets to be the pole star, which means the dome is wobbling, and this is rotating every 24 hours, but it wobbles every 24,000 years. See 24 and 24? It's actually 25,920 years, but Santos said in the golden age, time speeds up, which equals out to 24,000 again. You see, you need to know how the atomic cycle works, because that's what our seconds are based upon. 1 second on Earth is the equivalent of 9 trillion cycles of a cesium atom. An atom is an atomic dynamo cycling at 1 trillion cycles per second. It's the ether in dynamic polarization against itself. It's a reciprocating precessional hyperboloid, oscillating pulse perturbation. Reciprocating, April in Spanish is abril, and so April and Libra are mirrors of each other. Cancer is the crab, Capricorn is the cabra or goat. So summer and winter are mirrors of each other, and spring and fall are mirrors of each other. which means there's only spring and summer, and fall is just spring again, winter is just summer again. Marco Rodin said the 2 is an upside down 5 because it was encrypted by our ancestors. They were letting us know something, just like Cancer and Crab was an encryption, and April and Libra were an encryption. They were hiding this, but it's actually hidden in plain sight for us to find. Spring and fall are mirrors of each other, and this is necessary for the reciprocating or renewal. The neutral zone is the renewal zone. The neutral zone is the renewal zone. When you double the number 1, you get a repeating pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. The 16 becomes a 7, the 32 becomes a 5, and 64 equals 10, which is 1. So you get a repeating pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 when you reduce each number down to its single digit. So the first number after 1 when you double is 2, the first number when you half is 5, and that's why 2 and 5 are mirrors, because doubling gives you an upward force and halving gives you a downward force. The sequence is reversed. Instead of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, we get 1, 5, 7, 8, 4, 2, which is the opposite of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5, 0.5 divided by 2 is 0.25. So let's trace the pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. So if we start at 1, then go to 2, then go to 4, then go to 8, then go to 7, then go to 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 creates an upward flow. That's called a high pressure north flux field. Now when we half and we go 1, 5, 7, 8, 4, 2, 1, 5, 7, 8, 4, 2, we end up creating a high pressure south flux field. So this is in from the south, out from the north, and this is in from the north, out from the south. Every magnet repels and attracts out of its north and south pole. So vortex-based mathematics is dealing with magnetism, it's dealing with your atoms, it's dealing with fluid dynamics. That's what vortex-based mathematics is. A vortex is what you get when you flush your toilet. When you half 6, you get 3, and when you double 3, you get 6. So 2 and 5 are opposites of each other. 3 and 6 alternate between each other. 3 and 6 are here. And the 9, whether you double it or halve it, it never changes. So 9 doesn't move, it is stillness, it is the ether. Tetragrammaton, 4-letter word of aton, which is God. God is the atom. It's just a whirlpool of energy that recycles itself. That's your galactic disk. That's the astrophysical jet stream. Millions of tons of hydrogen are being produced at the North Pole of every galaxy, and it returns to its plane, eventually gets sucked back into the black hole, which is just the 0 point. The inner volume of your atoms are also little galaxies, but they're not black holes only. They're also white holes. The black hole is the inertia. The black hole is the implosion. The white hole is the explosion. So the shin is the source or the ether or the spirit or the invisible light. Everything else is hard light. All elements are just hard light. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, because this Word is God. So if you stack up the name of God, YHWH, and make a pyramid with the full name at the base and the first letter at the top, you'll see how this is the all-seeing eye. This part of the pyramid is called not just the capstone, but the chief cornerstone. It's the seed where everything else comes from or branches out from. It's the source. That's why it's illuminated. So if you notice, this is actually Yoda. Yod is levitating above the ground. All the other letters are touching the ground. In the Bible it says, all you need is faith the size of a mustard seed. Just because this first letter is tiny doesn't mean it's less powerful. It's actually the most powerful, because it's the seed that contains all the information that produces trees, that produces the fruits that produce more seeds. So this first letter represents infinite potential. That's why Yoda levitates, because the Yod is the letter that levitates. It is God. Yoda is Buddha. He's green. He represents the middle path between the blue Jedi lightsaber and the red Sith Lord lightsaber. He holds a green lightsaber, which is the plane of inertia between both polarities. It's the neutron or neutral zone of every atom. The Earth itself is the plane of inertia or neutral zone. That's why nature is green, because natural is neutral. Thank you, Santos. Your root chakra is red. That's the red lightsabers for Sith Lord or Satan. And your throat chakra is blue. That's for Jedis or Jesus, which is just Jupiter versus Saturn. And that's why it's called Star Wars, because it is Kronos versus Zeus. But they're actually two sides of the same coin. There is no north or south pole. There's just the inverse of counter space. Thank you, Ken Willer. The 0 point, which is the ether, the non-Cartesian nexus from which all things come from and return to.